Hi, I'm Sarah from Quail Cottage.
And I'm Katie from Grown by Lightning Hollows, and we're two podcast-loving flower farmers here in Australia.
Welcome to the first episode of Bloommates. Today we wanted to tell you a bit about ourselves and our plans for the podcast and why we're actually starting one.
So I'm going to start by just setting the scene of how this came about, which was that it was maybe the start of winter and I was just weeding out in the garden listening to a bunch of podcasts, and I listened to one of my favourite American episodes which had an ad for roses. And I just felt so frustrated that so much of the content, great that it is not applicable here in Australia. And so I messaged Sarah because she was the obvious choice and asked if she wanted to join me on a podcast that would be for Australian.
Yeah, because we both love podcasts and have pretty much listened to every flower farming podcast there is, every episode. We're both super hungry for information. And, of course, here in Australia we've got the amazing Beck from Dish the Dirt out there doing God's work and whetting our appetites for Australian content. But we need more. We're so desperate for more information specific to the Southern Hemisphere and more stories. Yeah, so why not us? It gives us an excuse to catch up and talk flowers every week, so why not?
Perfect excuse.
Yes.
So with Bloommates, we wanted to create something that dives more into the day-to-day decisions, the behind-the-scenes, and the nitty-gritty business side of flower farming alongside the actual growing. We're thinking of it as pulling back the curtain on our spreadsheets and crop plans and probably our SOS phone calls to each other when something goes wrong or we need validation before making a decision.
Yeah. We should probably explain how we met and how we know each other, because we're good friends and we live only 10 minutes away from each other, which is awesome. We get to catch up regularly, and I actually drive past Katie's house on my way to work every day, so I get to have a snoop and see where things are up to.
Or pick up extras for orders that we need help filling or dropping things off. Yeah,
but we met through a group of local growers. It was the first catch-up of what's now turned into the Hunter Valley Hunter Flower Collective, which is just a group of flower-growing friends that have catch-ups semi-regularly, and we didn't know each other. I knew of Katie and had been scared to reach out to her. And yeah, I was really excited to meet her because I drove past her farm every day and saw her flower stand, and we both had a lot of chaotic energy going on and a lot of excitement for flowers and a lot of hunger for information.
I felt like Sarah wasn't on my radar. I think I started following her maybe the morning before we met, but I just wasn't really not very good at following people back on Instagram. But yeah, so it wasn't really on my radar. And then when I met her, I was like, oh my gosh, this girl is my kind of
yes.
And yeah, it's kind of just grown from there. But I feel like just that very first catch up was such a solid foundation in realizing our brains work quite similarly. Yeah. The thirst for just wanting knowledge about everything and doing deep dives and that sort of thing.
And we're both very open about sharing the information that we find because we're so excited about it. We want to talk about it. And we both love the detailed side of it, getting really deep into the nitty-gritty of things.
Yeah, researching particularly varieties, not just picking something. Or even in the way, as you'll come to know, we grow quite differently and grow quite different things. But yeah, I feel like our processes in a way are kind of similar.
And we both like the planning side of things and the business side of things and data and information.
Yeah.
And
so in terms of just getting a bit of a picture of how our weeks look, how our farm kind of is. So for me, I work 3 days a week off the farm in healthcare. And then I have 2 days a week on the farm, but my kids are there for that. So I'm juggling a few things. But yeah, I've always had hobbies that kind of take up a lot of my time, but flowers have just really swamped that in the last couple of years, and that's all my spare time is now revolves around growing flowers.
And similarly, I work off farm full-time 5 days a week, also in health actually. I don't have kids. I'm privileged to be a flower farmer without kids, because I know how hard it is and how much time you spend in the dark, literally in the dark with a headlamp on.
Yeah.
And I do too because I work, but my weekends are mine, so it is different. Yeah, that's my background, but a bit on our businesses, I suppose, and how we came to them. I started growing when I was still renting, because my cousin gave me a packet of zinnia seeds during COVID in 2020, and I got addicted. I mean, zinnias are a great place to start because they're so easy and they're so productive and they're really quick to bloom. So obviously I got addicted, and I was just growing in a couple of raised beds, and then I ended up with so many pots on our back patio. Then eventually we bought a place that was, I think I had about 2 years of practice at the rental, and then we bought a place out at Maitland. So Katie and I are in the Hunter Valley near Newcastle, and I'm on an urban block, but it's a pretty generous size. It's less than 1/4 of an acre, but we've got basically no grass left now. But when we first moved out here, we didn't have the money to put anything into the house, so we put all of our effort into the garden, and
it shows. It's a beautiful garden.
It is. We were lucky though, the previous owner had put a lot of work into trees and archways, and there was a lovely established sort of border, I suppose. Yeah. We've got jasmine arches and wisteria. Yeah, but yeah, we basically ripped up all the grass and put in-ground beds in everywhere. And I started selling through Instagram, actually. I had an Instagram account just for gardening, I suppose. And then people started contacting me asking to buy flowers. So I started selling bunches originally, kind of on Marketplace as well. And then a florist reached out to me because I was growing something that they couldn't get at the markets at that time. It was phlox, creme brulee phlox. And I loved the process of selling to a florist. I especially love when they come to my house. And when I'm home and they come to my house and I can walk through the garden with them and just seeing how excited florists get about the flowers that I grow.
Yeah, totally.
And so I gradually shifted to just selling to florists because it's the best use of my time. And that's my story.
And yeah, my property, I guess, to start with, we're on 25 acres. We're still relatively close to Maitland, but we bought the property to be able to have horses. And then also around the time of COVID, but also it was the time when I became a mum, and so I was kind of at home and was really interested in growing my own food, and kind of had a very, just trying to do good things for the environment. And so in part of that, I planted flowers for in our orchard to increase the pollinators. And then I really liked picking a little jar of flowers to send home with people. And yeah, it was just funny. There was such a different reaction in giving people flowers than there was for giving people, armloads of zucchinis and tomatoes. The flowers really made a bigger impact. Yeah. And yeah, that really just took off. And now my veggie garden is sad and neglected, and the flowers are gradually taking over the property.
It's amazing you even still have a veggie patch.
Yes, it really is. And then part of the veggie patch is asparagus, which I now sell to florists anyway.
Which you don't even pick the asparagus spears, just the asparagus foliage.
And yeah, my husband and I were interested in starting a market garden and selling vegetables. And from that, I found my way to the No Till Flowers podcast and listened to episodes of that and was like, oh my gosh, flower farming is a thing. And then That's a
great podcast to start with.
It was, so good. And I think it was an episode all about dahlias. So such an addictive place to start. And yeah, I really enjoyed growing, but I feel like I was also I really like Lisa Mason Ziegler. I listened to lots of her podcasts.
The queen.
Yes. And she would always say, something to the effect of, if you're not actually selling your flowers, you're just a gardener out of control. So I was really keen to start selling them, specifically because I was like, I want to be a farmer. Mm-hmm. I don't just want to be someone who is, just creating a large garden.
That's actually how I came to feel confident in calling myself a flower farmer. Totally. Was hearing her say that, because even though I'm on an urban block, I still am a farmer because I grow and sell something.
Yeah. The very first thing that I started, that I committed to with my flowers, was doing the flowers for a friend's wedding, which was quite a place to start. Yeah. And she, when I offered to do it, she was like, yep, cool, we only were budging at $100 for our flowers. So it was a very low bar of what she was willing to do. And she was like, whatever. I was like, I tend to grow bright colours. And she was like, yep, that's fine. And then 6 weeks before the wedding, I had dinner with her and her fiancé, and her fiancé told me that actually they only wanted white flowers with billy buttons, and then some pops of yellow. So I had 6 weeks. So too late to plant anything.
Season are we in? What month was it?
The wedding was in November. So this was in
September.
And I politely was like, yep, okay, cool. And then internally panicking about not being prepared. But it turned out beautifully. Luckily, I had grown Ami Magus or Queen Anne's lace, and I just had buckets and buckets. Actually, it was just if you picture just froth of the Queen Anne's lace everywhere, and then little pops of other flowers in amongst it. I had lots of billy buttons that I mixed in. Lucky. I had some yellow paper daisies as well. And it was amazing, but it was also very stressful. And at the time I was like, I am never doing a wedding again. And then gradually I got back. But and then about a month later after that, I started selling via a roadside stall that at the time we had major roadworks going on out the front of our property. And so I'd asked another local farmer who sold hay out the front if I could put a little flower stand there, and that's how it started.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah. I remember when you used to be a bit further down the road. Yeah.
And it was a really great way to get started, and I feel if your property isn't well set up for a stand, it's a good option. We paid them a small percentage of of the money. And it was just really nice to have the confidence. Yeah, it was nice to go somewhere where people already, they already stopped to buy hay or they're already aware of it. And the local...
And it was right near that little coffee
stand next to a coffee stand, yeah. Yeah. And the local community were just so lovely and supportive. And I hadn't planned to even post it on Facebook or any of that, but the response I got was so lovely of people just being so excited by the flowers. And now looking back at what I was selling, they were really, because it was December, I know I didn't have dahlias yet. I remember at the time my focal flower was Cosmos, which was,
You have to start somewhere.
Bless.
Oh, bless. Dear. Speaking of the flowers we grow, actually, we should talk about that. We have a different market from each other, different customers, a little bit. There is a bit of crossover, but we grow fairly different things as well because we grow at different scales, and the way we grow is a bit different. Did you want to talk about what you grow? Yeah,
so we're recording this in spring or the very start of spring. So ranunculus for me are kind of my first main crop that's coming in, which is so exciting, and they're a real favourite of mine. I feel like it's so nice to start selling retail bunches, start the season strong with a flower that isn't seen necessarily a lot, and it also has a long vase life. So I really appreciate those. But then my kind of style of flowers I like to work with are bright and colourful, and so it
really works because you can see them from the road. Yeah. When I drive past on my way to work, I feel like if you did more muted colours I do, it wouldn't have the same impact.
Yeah. So I guess, in summer, lilies are my favourite flower, and I find my customers, it's the one flower I specifically get orders for from retail customers. A lot of them know what dahlias are. Yeah. And then also sunflowers, which are big. People are always really excited by sunflowers, which I guess is very area specific, but I find that people around here like them. And then zinnias and cosmos being just nice and easy, kind of backup's not the right word. That's that's insulting. Supporting flowers.
Yeah, supporting. Yeah, that's much nicer.
How about you? If you pick a couple of your top.
Yeah, I sell mainly to florists, so only to florists.
Yeah.
And mainly event florists, wedding florists. So I try to grow unusual things they can't get from the Sydney markets, and I try to stick to wedding-friendly colour palettes.
Yeah.
We're in spring, like Katie said, so corncockle or agrostemma is I would say, our main crop because it's our most profitable spring crop. And I've tried to grow a lot of it this season, but we've had so much rain.
So much rain.
So much rain, which we'll talk more about throughout the season. But yeah, we've had so much rain and some of my plants have just rotted at the base. So I won't have as much as I'd hoped. But I also grow long stem pansies, phlox. I'd say those are my 3 main spring crops.
Yeah.
And then in summer, what are my main summer crops?
Sanguisorba?
Yeah, sanguisorba is one that I'm shifting towards becoming just a main crop in general. Yeah. It's a perennial, and if you haven't seen it before, you should look it up. It's also, if you're struggling to work out how you would spell sanguisorba, it's also known as Great Burnet. That's easier to try and spell. It's on like a long, skinny, wiry stem, but very sturdy stems, and the flowers look like little mulberries almost.
Yeah, that's a great description.
Maybe a little bit more, not quite as purple, they're more burgundy.
Yeah.
And they've got a really great vase life, and the florists loved them last year. But they are a perennial, like I said, so they'll get more and more productive over the years. Last year was my first year growing them, so I'm hoping this year will be...
Yeah, very excited to see them.
Me too. But yeah, because they're perennials, I have had to just like dedicate beds to them, and they can't... I mean, I've grown some other things in them for early spring, but other than early spring, you can't really interplant them. Those beds are just for sanguisorba and can't be flipped, which is hard on a small space to dedicate beds to just one crop. Yeah. But it's worth it for sanguisorba because they'll get super productive the more mature they get. And I also grow some more common things like zinnias are one of my faves. They're so productive and easy, and cosmos, and some dahlias, not many because they're not overly profitable for me on a small scale. Like I can just cram so many more of the other crops that I grow into the same amount of space. Like if I'm spacing dahlias 30 centimetres apart, but then corncockle I can space 5 centimetres apart, or even phlox in summer. Yeah, it just makes more sense for me to grow other things, but I can't. I'll get FOMO if I don't grow any. So I grow some.
Yeah. And you've narrowed down your colours of dahlias this year. Yeah.
Mainly like peaches and blush.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are the standout crops for me, I'd say. I can't think of any others. Oh, yeah, that's another special. Yeah. Yeah, I grow chocolate cosmos that the florists go nuts for. Yeah. I wish I had space for more of it, but yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so those are my crops.
How have you found building a florist customer base? How have you made contact? How have you gotten yourself known?
I feel like it came fairly naturally just through Instagram and, florists sharing when they were using my flowers. And then, I didn't have to reach out to many florists. Yeah. The florists reached out to me probably because I had unusual stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And once one florist would share the unusual thing, everyone jumps on. So it was, fairly easy. Okay. And now I've got, a good amount of florists that buy from me regularly, and we'll probably do an episode where we talk a bit about the harvest, where Katie and I both sell to florists. If you want some information now about that, by the time this episode comes out, Beck from Dish the Dirt will have an episode live where she interviewed myself and Ash from Film and Foliage about the harvest. So you can go and listen to that if you want some info. But it's basically like a community collection point for florists and growers. It's not open to the public. The growers all bring their florist orders and the florists come and pick up, and we'll chat flowers and can have cuppa.
Yeah, it's really nice community of like a way of connecting growers and florists.
Yeah. But yeah, that's how we grow and what we grow. I guess that's it for this episode. Yeah. For the next episodes, Katie and I are sort of going to like interview each other.
So go a bit deeper onto each of our farms and ourselves, I guess. Yeah. Just to start out, so you can get to know us, I guess. When you then hear us talking about certain things, you'll have a bit of context of why we plan and do the things that we do.
Should we mention some of the episodes we plan to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little taster. So we're going to do an episode on how we choose what we grow. We're planning to interview some florists, hopefully.
Once we work out if we're actually cut out for this, we'll start approaching people that we hopefully can interview to also give different perspectives. And I mean, I think we'd like to also interview people who are further along their farming journeys than us and be able to bring that sort of perspective as well. And maybe people who grow in different parts of Australia and grow different things or that sort of thing.
And people with like special interests or special circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll talk a bit about our crop planning, and we'll do a monthly roundup as well, just sort of chatting about what's going on the farm, what jobs we've been doing, whinge about the weather, no doubt.
Totally. And keep things sort of like seasonally relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah. To like, so that you can listen to things that are actually talking about what's going on at the moment in the season we are, instead of listening to Americans talk about their autumn as we're heading into spring.
Which we do love.
We do.
We're so grateful to be able to have podcasts at all. But, something relevant at the right time of year. Do you find that your brain works in both?
Yes, totally. Like you can just convert between
seasons. And sometimes someone will say June to me, and that I instantly think of summer.
100%. Yeah, I do.
It's concerning.
It is.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're so like consumed by the content that we listen to.
Yeah, it's a shocker.
But things like, I was listening to an episode yesterday about sowing your cool flowers, which is like we've missed that boat in Australia. Like we're now, well, I would imagine for most of us, unless you're in a particularly cold area, like, and that's not where your brain wants to be. Hopefully we're going to fill that gap a little bit.
Yeah. We've planned a 12-week season. There will be a couple of bonus episodes in there, so more than 12 episodes. But we plan to just do seasons, maybe 2 a year, so that it doesn't feel like work, so that it's fun.
Because you'll probably also get the impression we're busy people. We take a lot on, and this is just adding one more thing. So we're going to try and provide something that's really useful but not too overwhelming.
Yeah, for us. We want to make it manageable for us. So you can expect weekly episodes from now on until I think just before Christmas is when the last one will come out. And then we will have a much needed break.
Yes.
I'll have a break from selling for a couple of weeks over Christmas.
Nice.
You don't have a break, do you?
Well, we're going to be away for a week.
Oh.
That would normally be a busy week, but it won't be. So, yes, that will be lovely.
Nice. Cool. Well, that's us.
Thanks for listening. For making it to this point.
Oh gosh, if you did, yes, thank you.
We'd love to hear from you. Find us on Instagram, and subscribe if you're keen to hear more.
Yeah, great. We'll see you on the next one.